a public figure in the last year, casting himself as a tough-talking mercenary leader who was far more effective than the traditional military. He regularly castigated and belittled military leaders like Sergei Shoigu, the Russian defense minister. Over the past year, pro-Kremlin figures seeking to prove their patriotic bona fides rushed to join Mr. Prigozhin's bandwagon. "This is a fifth column," he wrote on social media, without naming names. Traitors to the motherland. The son of Mr. Peskov, the Kremlin spokesman, bragged that he had joined an artillery unit in the Wagner group and earned a medal for courage. There was also the question of who had spoken up for Mr. Putin while the rebellion was ongoing, and who stayed silent. One Moscow political analyst, Mikhail Vinogradov, published what he called an oath rating on the Telegram social network that catalogued, down to the minute, at what time on Saturday Russia's regional governors posted a message of support of Mr. Putin, and listed the 21 who did not. Mr. Matveyev insisted that the aborted rebellion was a positive for Russia because its failure strengthens the image of the authorities and acts as a vaccine against future rebellions. And Mr. Remchikov, the newspaper editor, said that despite his prediction on Sunday that Mr. Putin might not run for re-election next year because of the rebellion's blow to his image, he has seen Moscow's Kremlin-connected elite rally to Mr. Putin's side as he seeks to telegraph strength. Putin is now totally focused on sending the message to the elites that, "I can protect you," Mr. Remchikov said. Now there will, I think, be some very energetic actions to show this. Because his whole logic is to show that this was nothing but treason. Others saw an ongoing challenge for Mr. Putin, especially as the war drags on and members of the elite look to blame each other for setbacks at the front. This is a signal that the system of governance is not handling the wartime stress well, Mr. Vinogradov, the Moscow analyst, said. Especially not in the last 2 months, when everyone was awaiting a successful Ukrainian counteroffensive and preparing to turn on one another, and even the lack of that success didn't change this at all. Mr. Vinogradov said in an interview that it would be a mistake to draw serious conclusions from his ratings, but Mr. Matveyev, the member of parliament, said he found the list revealing. "I had a glance and drew conclusions that a person is, let's say, unreliable and might act differently next time," he said. And the head of a party in Russia's rubber-stamped parliament, Sergei Mironov, posed with a sledgehammer decorated with the Wagner insignia, a pile of skulls and a hand-drawn smiley face. The sledgehammer became Mr. Prigozhin's trademark after he endorsed its use in the gruesome execution of a Wagner fighter who had surrendered to Ukraine. "Thank you to Yevgeny Prigozhin for the present," Mr. Mironov wrote on Twitter in January. "This is a useful instrument." But by Tuesday, Mr. Mironov had refashioned himself into a bulwark against Mr. Prigozhin's rebellion. He called for an investigation into what he claimed was a line of VIPs, officials and civil servants, flocking to leave the country from the private jet terminal of Moscow's Vnukovo airport during Wagner's abbreviated march toward Moscow on Saturday. For the Russian public and the military rank and file, the aftermath of the rebellion is a moment of whiplash. With the Wagner forces, which had scored Russia's only recent battlefield success and had been celebrated by pro-war bloggers and at times the state media, being recast as traitors. Leonid Ivashov, a retired senior Russian general who has spoken out against the war but has remained in Russia, summarized the overarching question hanging over society and the military thus. "What is going on? Many can't understand what the government actually wants," General Ivashov said in a phone interview. "The first question is, what is happening in the country and the army?